Hello friends, Sarah Sunstone here, bringing you the latest gaming news with Sunnyside Up. Today is December 5th, 2025. Starsand Island shared an update on the game's release, along with 2 brand new trailers showcasing seasonal gameplay, automation, building, combat, and plenty more. So let's go over everything you need to know about the new announcements and break down what's been revealed for the new content. Be sure to shine the lovely like button if you're excited for Starsand Island, and make sure you're subscribed with your notifications on to stay in the loop. Otherwise, without any further ado, let's get right into it. First up, Starsand Island, the upcoming anime-inspired life simulation title, is officially confirmed to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 alongside the previously announced platforms. The Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game will offer 2 different gameplay modes that you can choose from depending on your preferences. The first is a quality mode targeting 45 FPS in 1080p, with a second performance mode delivering 60 FPS also in 1080p. Apparently, both of these modes will be available for docked gameplay and handheld modes, so that's great. It doesn't look like there will be any option here for 4K graphics, but the option for 60 FPS is excellent. This Nintendo Switch 2 version of Starsand Island will also support mouse controls and game chat features during online multiplayer. I do wonder exactly how the mouse controls will be implemented with the Switch 2 Joy-Con. I'm imagining at the minimum it would most likely be for building and decorating, but we will have to stay tuned for more details, including when exactly this version of the game will be releasing. At this time, we only have the confirmed release date for Steam, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5, which, as a reminder, is set for February 1st of 2026. It seems like the team is aiming for an early 2026 release window for the Nintendo Switch 2 version, so fingers crossed it's not too far after the initial launch. Next, let's go through each of the new trailers to see all of the newly revealed features. One of my favorite things that was revealed is this beautiful look at the 4 distinct seasons on Starsand Island. The team shared that we'll get to experience the island as it transforms through spring, summer, fall, and winter, with each season bringing new activities, visuals, and surprises waiting to be discovered. It looks like the spring season will be filled with cherry blossom petals and gentle breezes. The summer appears to bring an abundance of fruit, florals, and maybe even some new insects. My personal favorite season is autumn, and this looks absolutely beautiful. The grass has changed colors, the leaves, of course, too, have followed suit. There's still little pops of color with some beautiful flowers, but everything just looks so cozy and peaceful. I also absolutely love this little cat curled up on the rock, and a little squirrel dashing through the tree. These are 2 of the adoptable pets. The winter season looks absolutely magical. Everything is blanketed in snow. It looks like the pond is frozen over, and this tree has some beautiful red leaves. We have a little snow person here too, so perhaps we can expect some festive decor for our farm. And then specifically here, I absolutely love the 2 characters' outfits. They look so festive and just joyful, but also very cozy, you know, so they can stay warm in the colder weather. This trailer also set out to showcase some of the cross-cultural elements that the team is implementing in the game, with the goal of celebrating various cultures in one single space. So this does include some different outfits, and what appears to be some new hairstyles that we've yet to see in the game. So here we can see all 4 of the new outfits and hairstyles. We can also see the red panda pet, which was actually unlocked through the Kickstarter. So that little guy will also be an adoptable pet who looks very, very cute. Just to backtrack a little bit, it looks like they're showcasing some animal taming mechanics of sorts. We have a little pony here, alongside a horse, a deer, and a buffalo, I believe. Some of these animals will be mounts that we'll be able to ride, though I'm not sure if all of them will be, but it's actually nice to see the animals out in the snow. I do actually hope that that is part of the gameplay, because I feel like a lot of the times in games where you have animals, you do have to just leave them inside. I understand they need to stay warm, but I think it is kind of nice when they can also get some sunlight and stuff. So I think that'd be nice if the animals could go outside all seasons, as long as you're still, you know, taking care of them. Again, this is showing more of the different seasons. So we got another look at winter. Here we can see some more of the autumn season, harvesting grapes. And then once again, as this player character is growing grapes, we can see that transition into the autumn season. It's really nice to see our farm actually in the autumn. I think it's going to look very cozy and of course very autumnal, lots of beautiful colors. Now this clip is very interesting because yes, the player is riding a horse. So that is a confirmed mount, but it's interesting because I'm not sure where exactly this is. This looks like it's out in some really expansive field. There's some sheep here, there's a couple of tents. So I'm definitely curious about this. I do wonder if this is a location or if this is perhaps some land that maybe we can ultimately expand to so we have more space to build and design. I'm not sure, totally speculation, but I just thought this clip was a little bit interesting because I've never seen this location on the island at all. And it was very interesting to include in the trailer. And from that clip, they do lead into some building. And once again, just how detailed the building mechanics truly are. You can assemble a fence piece by piece. You can add gates, windows, pathing piece by piece as well. So individual pieces of path can be placed to your liking. They're also clearly showing how building and customization is gridless. There's also a large number of degrees of rotation for the items, so you can get the angle just right. I also absolutely love here how they show that you can add bits of greenery and like ivy to the outside of your buildings. I love seeing plants and flowers and greenery like literally everywhere inside and out. So this is such a great touch, and I would honestly cover like an entire wall with this. I do also think that this house is being built in a different spot than where our starter house is, just based off of the background scenery, like the river and the bridges in the background is what's kind of leading me to believe it's not in the same spot as our starter house, unless they're changing the map, between the demos that we've played and what the full release actually will reflect. They did show an up-close shot of some of the greenery, and what you can actually see here in the center is a stamp. So you can actually put different stamps and like stickers on what you build, which can be really fun. And I'm not sure if they'll allow the option for like custom designs as well, but I feel like that would open a huge doorway of ways you could really get creative with customization too. So that's kind of a nice little touch. Now this bridge is absolutely beautiful. And one thing that you may or may not have noticed through many of these trailer clips is that it seems like they are actually showing off some multiplayer gameplay, because you will notice these are actually 2 player characters. Neither of these are NPCs. The same can be said for when we see all 4 of these characters sitting together here. These are not NPCs. These are all player characters. So I'm really excited about the idea of multiplayer for Starsand Island, and I can't wait to learn more about exactly how it plans to be implemented for the full release. But they've shown little hints and little bits and pieces in the past of multiple players, but this is the first time they've really gone all out and had 4 players together all in one scene. So this is very exciting, especially because here it looks like, it's just 4 friends hanging out at a beautiful home that they've built together. So I do hope that this game is actually really fun to play with others, and it allows you to do lots of stuff together, especially building together. I feel like that'd be really fun, and maybe it would feel a little bit less overwhelming if you had, some extra hands to help out with these big projects. This trailer closed out by showcasing another beautiful building. I really love all the different styles of architecture that they've been showcasing across, the various trailers. But this one specifically really showcases the island across the 4 seasons. So once again, here we start off with spring, the beautiful cherry blossoms, the beautiful skyline and water. And then we go into summer, where you can see a bunch of lily pads and lotus flowers. And then everything's kind of become more green. Then we transition into the autumn with the beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous, cozy colors. And of course, the falling leaves. And then finally, the winter season. The water has completely frozen over. The snow is falling. It looks like the perfect weather to cozy up and just stay inside. I even love the little detail of the footprints in the snow. So I, once again, cannot wait to actually experience all the different seasons in the game. I already am pretty confident that there will be a good level of attention to detail across the seasons. The team has put a lot of care and detail into everything already, so I feel like the seasons will also match that level of care. So that trailer showed off a ton of new details and features coming to Starsand Island, but another trailer actually was also shared. It debuted at the PC gaming show, and this trailer also showcased some beautiful cinematics, along with a peek at even more new features. I've really been loving seeing all of these gorgeous cinematics and hope that some of these are actually in the game. I know that some of them definitely are. You will get some lovely cutscenes when you meet the romanceable characters, and it seems like there will be cutscenes for moments with those characters as well. But I think it'd be really nice if the game actually started out with some of these cinematics to kind of show how you grew up on the island and now you're returning. So one of the new features they showcased in this trailer is a look at automation. So it does seem like once you kind of expand your farm and really get things going, you will have the option to automate some aspects of what you have going on, so your production and such. So here we can see a robot terminal on our farmland. And once we interact with this, we can see that we can add up to 12 different robots, each with, different abilities. So here we have robots to help you with logging, mining, and also gathering. And you can add multiple of each different type of robot. There could also be other types of robots, I'm not sure. Maybe this is just a preview. And then once you add these robots to your terminal, it seems like they'll get to work right away, helping out around your farm, harvesting crops, collecting different resources, and then probably depositing them for you in the terminal so you can collect them yourself to actually, make use of. Another element of automation that was shown off here is the auto fertilizer box. So it does seem like there will be a variety of different tools that you can opt to use to kind of expedite aspects of your production at your farm. There could also be tools like this for other professions, because while there is farming in Starsand Island, it's not just a farming simulation game, it's more of a life simulation game. You'll have different professions that you can choose from. You can choose all of them if you want to. So there's, fishing, adventuring, ranching. There's different things you can take on. You don't have to farm necessarily. And so I could imagine that there would be some of these systems for the other professions as well. But here they're just showcasing what we would take advantage of for farming. Now, this is really interesting because here the player is actually building their own greenhouse piece by piece, and the result looks beautiful. It also looks like it is totally functional, so you can grow crops within the greenhouse. I'm not sure if it'll function like what we might expect from, other farming simulation games where you can grow off-season crops in the greenhouse. It does seem like probably, because here we see pumpkins, watermelons, and pineapples, which typically would not necessarily be growable in the same season. I did also find these little arrows interesting. I'm wondering if the player was fertilizing the crop to kind of boost growth, or if there's some kind of a boosting effect for the crops being placed within the greenhouse. Not sure on that. Again, this is just speculation, but I love the idea of a greenhouse. And I also feel like it's really nice that we get to have some flexibility with maybe the size and the shape of the greenhouse. We get to kind of make it ourselves. It's not just a preset greenhouse. Although I do kind of hope that there will be some preset options in case I'm not very good at actually building one. I do also want to back it up a little bit and point something out here. So earlier when we were talking about that big expansive land, and I was wondering, where is this? And is this somewhere we can build? I just wanted to point out here in the upper left-hand corner of the interface, it says Wind Flute Island. Now, we know this game is based on Starsand Island, and when we start at our, home, when we get our farm, when we get our little ranch, our little house, that is on Starsand Island. It's also a much smaller area than what we're seeing here, so I am wondering if Wind Flute Island is perhaps somewhere we can expand to so we can build a much bigger house, have a much bigger farm, raise more animals, all that good stuff. So maybe it's like an island off of an island? Let me know what you think about this. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. They also showed off some of the little piglets that you can raise if you decide to go into ranching. They're absolutely so cute. And we do see one of those robot terminals here close to the little animal pens. So that could suggest that there will be some automation tools for, raising animals as well. Then next we go into some methods of traversal. So we have the glider, which honestly has been such a surprise to me that we're going to be able to use the glider. I think it will very much come in handy though, because I found myself in some situations where I really wish I had that glider just from playing the preview builds, the beta, the alpha, the demo. I've definitely got myself into some high places and then been like, oh, it'd be so nice if I could just glide down from here. So love that this will be a feature that we'll have access to. We'll probably have to progress a little bit to unlock it, I would imagine. They also showcase the hoverboard. So you do get a skateboard pretty early on in the game if you want it, but this hoverboard looks very fast and like a great way to whip around the island in style and with great speed. Now here they're actually also showcasing what I believe appears to be fast travel. So it seems like there will be some of these terminals that you can interact with and maybe choose different points around the map that you can teleport to. I think that'll be super helpful because This island is quite expansive, and even with all the different types of mounts and transportation, sometimes you just want to get from point A to point B, depending on, what exactly your goal is. So I think having fast travel is honestly a must for this game. So very happy to see this. They also showcase some combat, so there will be combat in the game. I'm not exactly sure how mandatory it will be. I think if you want to go into the adventuring profession, it'll definitely be like a mandatory thing. Outside of that, I'm not sure. We'll have to kind of stay tuned to see if there will be options around, different settings for it, or maybe you don't even need to engage with the system if you're just, working in other professions. Only time will tell for this. But for those of you who do like combat, like me, this actually looks quite fun. It looks like we have a boss battle here, and it looks like, there's actually some methodology to it, like we're jumping over these shock waves. We have a bow and arrow that we're kind of charging up. There's also like some bubbles in the air, so there's a lot of visual effects going on here. Also, this is literally a crystal turtle, so I actually really hope that these enemies are somewhat maybe just corrupt creatures, that once we kind of stun them, maybe they will just, we'll knock some sense back into them and then we can be friends with them. I don't know, because they look so precious and so cute. And I know that is actually how some of the mechanics will work. Like you can encounter, for example, a corrupt little bunny, and then if you kind of stun it, you'll help it kind of exit this mental state of corruption, I guess. It's kind of like the idea behind it. And then you can actually rescue that rabbit and bring them back to your land. So I actually really like that idea and like a little twist on combat. So you're actually kind of saving these little animals. I don't know if it'll be like that for the different bosses, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, once again, they are showing off some serious building. This is some stuff I would have to practice and like learn the system very well to figure out how to do this. It looks incredible. So those of you who like really love building, you'll feel probably very at home with this. It seems like there will be some prefab options though. So if you might feel overwhelmed with this, like me, you should be okay. But I love how many options this seems to have. I mean, this is an entire like rooftop terrace over on the right here. It looks so gorgeous, so peaceful, so zen. When they zoom out, you can see like there's a beautiful pond over here. There are some garden beds, which is interesting. So there's also garden beds in addition to, the farming plots. We have a patio. We actually have another rooftop patio on the other side of the house. There's so much going on here. So I honestly, this might be the game where I like learn how to actually build stuff, because it looks so good and it looks like you can do so much and just create your perfect little cozy getaway, right? Like this looks so good. So glad they're showing off more of that. And this trailer closed out with another beautiful, precious cinematic and the announcement that pre-orders are actually going to be starting soon. So that is very exciting. Don't know exactly when soon is. Of course, I cannot wait for this game. I can't wait to stream it with you guys when it releases and dive into all of these features that we've been speculating on and beyond. So there you have it, friends. That's the latest news from Starsand Island. Be sure to share your thoughts with me on this down in the comments. Anything and everything, I always love hearing from you. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. And until next time, take care.